Welcome to the Mother-Daughter-ish podcast. It's your mama's favorite podcast.
And the podcast your daughter always wanted.
This is Miss Dawn.
And Angelique.
From the 713. Houston, y'all. Get connected and stay connected weekly as new shows debut on Sunday, Wednesday, and please check out our Saturday Out and About showcases.
Enjoy the show. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and tell every woman on the planet that you know about our show.
Here's our show for today. Hey ladies, this is your official invitation to join us on the Winner's Circle Cruise in January. We're going to meet in Fort Lauderdale and go through Key West. And then from Key West, we are going to go over to Bimini, Bahamas. If you have not been to the Bahamas in the last year or so, you've got to go. It is so wonderful, so lovely, so awesome. So far, we've got a good group of ladies that are already signed up. The max to go is 24, unless something wild happens, but 24 is the max. If you received the flyer from me, you know that you need to go ahead and get your deposit down. So we'll spend the first day in Fort Lauderdale getting on the cruise. It'll spend a day on the water. We'll get over to Key West, spend a day there. That'll be day 3. And then for day 4, we will be in Bimini, Bahamas, and we will spend an entire day there where we will just foo-la-la, foo-la-la, foo-la-la. And the final day, we will be back in Fort Lauderdale. I do suggest that you get to Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the night before the cruise. I have seen people be left, so don't be one of them. Now, if you want to leave the day we get back, the cruise is going to be back. By the time you get off, it'll be 10. So if you want to book you a flight, book it after 10 or noon. You just saw the beautiful rooms that we are going to be booking. Yes, every room will have a balcony unless you declare otherwise. Now look at that water. Can you tell me you don't want to be there? Look at all of those good markets. You telling me you don't want to be with the Winner's Circle? The Winner's Circle is for women owners of businesses that want to get together with other women from all over different places to be able to mastermind, to talk about our businesses, to grow, to support one another, to hear others' perspectives on how you can do things different in your business to be the best business and to grow your business. Anything that you can't talk about with other people, this is a great time. Join us on the Winner's Circle Cruise. Hey, mothers and daughters, we are back again today with our month of women and the success. And today I have a wonderful lady on here that is going to talk a little bit about her business. Now, she is in the financial literacy, and y'all know I got a passion for this financial literacy because we've talked about it a little bit before and how it's important that women get involved in financial literacy so for the legacy, not just for themselves, but for their life. And so I have today Miss Meaghan Keeven on the phone, and not just on the phone, but she's on our YouTube, of course, and she's going to tell us all about how she got her business started, why she loves doing what she does, how she came up with the name for her business, and where her business is going. So for our women and success, let's welcome Miss Keeven. Thank you.
I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
That's so awesome. Now tell us the name of your business.
Yes. So the name of my business is Era of Women and Wealth.
Okay. And how did you come up with that name? It's so powerful.
Yeah, I wanted it to like elude power and empowerment, right? And I think I also wanted it to just be very simple, like women and wealth. There's no reason like we shouldn't have it.
That's right.
And I feel like there's just been a very big turn recently, like a shift in society of women more coming into their power. That's and right. So I just thought like this is all encompassing and it's simple, right? Like era, this is our era. And we're going to continue it, and women and wealth, and that's how it came about.
That's amazing that you have felt that as well, because seriously, between me and you and everybody that's listening, I have felt that same thing. And it's been for like the last 7 to 10 years that it's been like coffee. It's been brewing and brewing and brewing. And it's like, okay, I heard something maybe about 10 or 11 years ago. And I even saw a lady with a shirt on, and she said, the future is women.
It is.
Women are the future. And she was talking about us running things and, really taking, our power and doing whatever it is that we need to do, regardless of everything else that's going on in the world, that we can also shine and be all those other things. We can be mom, we can be wives, we can be whatever, business owners, we can work a 9 to 5, but we can also harness our power of whatever it is that we love. So I love that your name has that, your business name has that type of power in it. How long have you been doing the type of work that you've been doing in your business and just as what you've been doing in life?
So in life, I've been investing for 15 plus years, probably almost 20 now at this point.
Okay.
And then really the need kind of grew organically. I've been in the financial services industry for years.
Okay.
And then I kept, throughout the years, like people kept coming up to me, specifically women,
Mhm.
saying, "Hey, I'm going to give you this money to manage, like asset wise, and build me portfolios, do that type of thing."
Mhm.
But then they kept saying to me, also, I'm going to give you that and I trust you with it. But what I really want, Meaghan, is I really want to understand
Yeah.
why you're doing the things that you're doing with it, and how do you know what to do with it? And I thought, you know what? Like, I don't have all the time in the world, like in that specific business, like asset management business, to teach that. So I'm going to make that time. So that's how this company came into play. It grew organically out of request from another business.
I like it.
So it's kind of like a sister company, and I really feel like it really works well that way.
Okay.
But it's just people just kept asking, and so I thought, well, clearly there's a need, and we're going to fix that and solve that problem for them. And here we are today. So.
That is so true. I was on a webinar yesterday, and the quote that the lady said, and I had to email her and tell her thank you, and she was going to send me something over. But she said, find the need and give them that. And I was just like, how simple, but so true, because sometimes people, they don't realize that what they have, there's so many people who need that service. Now, you're in
Yeah.
financial literacy. That can mean so many things and be so helpful for people. What are some of your favorite things that you can share with others that you work with on financial literacy that's going to get them from A to Z and have a better understanding from before they met with you?
I think one of my biggest things is I want everybody to be aware of their situation. And I think that leads into the literacy aspect, because if you don't even know what you don't know, how are you supposed to ask for help? And so my big thing, my number one thing, is I want to take somebody from not even knowing what they need, they just know they don't know something,
Right, right.
to then saying, here's really pinpointed information that from what you just shared is now going to educate you and then help you find a solution, or fill a gap, or
Right.
just be that much more impactful in their overall life, because our finances bleed into every aspect of our life. I wholeheartedly believe too.
Okay. Now let me ask you this, and this is just a personal opinion, but when it comes to the traditional money that we're using today, and it comes to digital money, is there one you like better?
I don't have a personal preference. I think I use both for certain things, and I'll explain
Well,
that.
I'm saying if you had to just choose one for the rest of your life, and this is just the way it's going to be, would you keep it the way it is, or would you go straight digital everything?
Oh, that is a really good question. I have never thought
I've
about
had
that.
to ask myself that question, and I actually had an argument with myself, and
Yeah.
I won, of course, but
I think I probably use more digital, if
yeah,
I'm being honest,
okay,
than like legit cash in hand, right? Like, I use cash in hand mainly to teach my children,
got it.
because kids need something tangible, right?
Yes.
And so that's when I find
It's so
myself
easy to just swipe, swipe, swipe,
it,
swipe, and you're like,
it,
oh, it doesn't go through because you've swiped enough.
it's a concept, right? It's hard for them to grasp. And
Yeah.
so I do use cash, like they get an allowance. When they go to the stores, they have to physically hand somebody cash, they have to count their change. But
Okay.
I would say for myself,
Mhm.
I don't really ever use cash. So I guess I would have to say digital, just because that's how my life is right now.
Well, I could be one of your kids because I am only cash. When I walked into a store that I wanted to use, because everybody was bragging about the smoothies are so good. They only use fresh, only organic, no sugar, no this. And I was like, oh, I got to try them. And I walked in and they went, oh, we only take credit cards. I just walked out because I'm not putting $6 on my card. I'm just, if it's not $20 or more, I'm not interested in putting that on a card. So I am the girl who is going to keep cash. When I pay for my gas, I'm going to walk into the gas station and I'm going to pay cash for it because that's just how old fashioned I am. So I'm going to be one of those sad ones that if we literally ever go all digital, I will probably just go and live in the mountains somewhere in a hut because then maybe I won't need cash and I can just catch fresh fish every day or something. Because I am just up in arms about, like, what do you mean? We need choices. Like, I think about all the elderly people too who don't really
Yes,
understand that whole system. And I'm elderly in my mind.
you're
So,
funny.
so I keep thinking like, no. And I'm like your kids. I need to see if I have $5 and I spend one, I need to see I have four. And if I spend three more, I'm like, oops, I got to stop spending. But with a credit card, oh my gosh, it can be so easy. And that's how I had to teach my kids that, but they're, in their 20s and 30s. So of course, digital is everything to them because it's just easy. They don't have to keep cash in their hand because like my daughter says, oh, she said, if I keep cash, I lose it. So
Yeah.
how do you find in this financial literacy space, where's your little niche in it? Because we all have businesses that we do, but we then also have our niche in what we do. So where's your sweet spot for your niche?
Yeah, my niche is 6 and 7 figure earning women
Uh-huh.
who have money,
Uh-huh.
but they just want to keep it in a bank account. And which is great, right? Like, I'm glad that you have the money, you have the means, but let's take that and make it efficient and powerful and impactful.
Right.
And again, that just grew organically out of the clients that I started in my asset management company. Those were the people who were being referred to me. And I
Right.
just got really strong in it. And I think it was relatable for me also, right? Like, because I could tell them, hey, I'm in the same boat. And these are the things that I've been able to do and to implement and have been successful. And I didn't know these until someone taught me. But once they taught me, man, it changed the game for me.
You caught on to it. That's really wonderful. Now, in the financial literacy industry that you're in, what are some of the other things that you're involved in your business that kind of all matches together and it just makes sense for you?
So a huge thing is I do a lot of like outreach work, meaning there's a lot of schools like where I live, like colleges and in the medical field. And I do a lot of teaching for them.
Yeah.
And it's it's a passion project for me because that's a very integral part of someone's life, right? They're finishing school, they
Yeah.
likely have a lot of debt, and they don't even know what they need to ask for going into a job that can then set them up on a much smoother glide path the rest of their life if they know these 5 things based on employer benefits, or if they're going to be an entrepreneur or something like that. If you
Yeah.
do these things from the beginning, then it's going to be it's going to be like cruise control, right? Like consistent cruise control. And so that's another big area that I spend a lot of my time, is kind of that transition point for people just getting out of school, getting into a career, and setting them up on the right glide path.
I like that because a lot of the kids nowadays, when they're getting out of school, they kind of really know what they want to do, or at least they're going to go to college and figure out how to hone in on that craft that they want that degree for. But I could definitely see where financial literacy could play a part in, like, some of the influence. The kids are now influencers and making tons of
Yeah.
money on TikTok. Some of the guys that are girls and guys, I should say, that are in the sports arena that go right from college to playing professional sports and things like that. And sometimes you see them 30 years from there and they're broke. And it's like, how
Uh-huh.
in the world did you go through $50 million and right now you have nothing to show for it, but being able to show people how they can get involved in teaching themselves, how to financially save and grow it and protect it and things like that and invest it. That's just such a smart idea.
Yeah, and I think the other thing like that I really like to explain to people is people have this misconception that like investing has to be you got to be rich, it's very risky, and it's too complicated. I
Mhm.
don't believe any of those things. You don't have to be rich, it doesn't have to be risky, and it doesn't have to be complicated. And so I like to really like get that in people's minds that even if you had $25 a week to put towards something and you didn't want to take on a lot of risk, and let's just say, like at a very, very basic level, you put it in a high yield savings account. I mean, you're still making money off of that. Right now, we're seeing 4 and 5% returns off of that. That's conservative, it's safe. $25 a week, 100 so bucks a month. I mean, that's not, it's not complicated, not super risky, and you're not uber wealthy, right? Like, and so I really want people to think like you're not segregated out of wealth. Like you don't have to make $1 million a year to end up a millionaire. You can make 40 grand a year and have the right habits and be consistent and end up a multimillionaire. And I've seen it happen. And so I know that it's true. So I really like want people to understand that too. Not complicated, doesn't have to be risky, and you don't have to be super, super wealthy or have a ton of money to throw at it.
I'm so glad you said that second one about it doesn't have to be super risky because even myself, I'm one of those people that every business I've ever been involved in, I always go for the low risk just simply because risk is just it's a big word. But I would
Mhm.
like to ask you this. What is one of the best situations that you have seen for yourself on someone investing and ended up being like, oh my gosh, this was the best thing I could have ever done? What are some of the returns that you've just kind of, just one of the best scenarios you've witnessed?
So I had a young female who she was a nurse. She had just gotten out of school. She was a referral from somebody. And I said, hey, let's sit down for 20 minutes and just kind of go over some things. That way you're just kind of set up. And it was a favor to somebody. And so that's what we did.
Mhm.
And she came back to me and she said, hey, I did XYZ that we spoke about.
Right?
And she said, now I'm at a point where I feel like I could really sit down with you because I feel like I have enough, right? Like in her mind,
Yeah.
that I feel like, I would feel good with doing something with. And I said, all right, well, let's sit down and let's just kind of do like, we have special software that we can input and we can do projections and all this stuff.
Okay.
So, she's not even 27. She's not putting a ton of money, maybe a couple $100 a month into investments.
Mhm.
Her projections, if she just stays on that course because she's so young and she has such a long timeline, so we call that a time horizon,
Mhm.
till average retirement age, which is 60 to 65, she
Okay.
will have she will be a multimillionaire. And it's only because she started young
Yep.
and she was consistent.
Okay.
We didn't, she's not super risky. We didn't complicate it.
Right.
And it's not like she was putting thousands of dollars away every single month. She just was young, had a
Mhm.
long time horizon, and she created the habit of consistency. Therefore, it's going to, if she keeps those habits in place, she will end up a multimillionaire. And I love seeing that because people are just blown away by that. They're like, I don't understand how that happens. Well,
Yeah.
it's compounding and you
Yeah.
have so much time for it to compound.
Right.
So
Because
huge.
young. Now that's good. I can't wait to share that with my daughter, what you just said, because she just started investing last month and every
Good.
week she's telling me what's going on. And she's literally teaching me about the investing part of it because I never was involved in the investing in the stock. I invest in businesses and things like that. But she always wanted to know about stock and she started reading and she started getting involved in groups and forums and now she's
Mhm.
really pumped up and excited about it. And every day there's something new that she's telling me. And so I can't wait to tell her what you just said because I told her, I said, the younger you are, the better it's going to be for you. She's 23 years old. So it's like, yeah, get started early. That way you can learn how it works. You can see the yays and the nays. You can know how to grow it. You can go from there. And at least you will know if this is what you want to do by starting young, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, I can't remember who said this, but somebody, I heard it on, I think Instagram, and someone said, nothing ever bad happens when women have money. And I
Right.
was like, oh my gosh, like that is so true. Like,
So
so
true.
for her
I agree
to
with
have
you.
Yeah, like for her to have that at such a young age, like, do you know how many choices she is now going to have because she may not feel stuck now. She may not feel obligated to stay in a relationship that she doesn't need to. She may be able to quit a job that doesn't fit her like right. I mean, she's going to have so many choices because she made the choice to get involved, to educate herself, and to be consistent. I mean, it opens up a totally different like world for people.
Now, do you have a forum where you and your group of people kind of do like a forum where you get together and you talk about these type of things and bounce ideas off of one another? Do you have like a group coaching or a group session that you do, a Facebook group or anything like that?
I don't. I'm working on it. I'm working on building a membership because I do find that that's very important is for like when I do work with someone individually, I
Right.
think it's very important for them to continue to be able to
Okay.
speak about it, because that's one of the most important things that we can do is just talk on it and speak on it. And so I do want to start building that community where people can bounce ideas off each other and say, hey, I tried this and maybe this didn't work, or hey, like if you're looking for conservative things, here's this, or hey, I read this really great book that things just clicked after I read it. I want to provide that space to people. So yes, I'm working on it. So I will always let you guys know when something new is coming out.
Awesome. Now, when it pertains to financial literacy, is there, if you had to give a newbie, someone who doesn't really know, but they know that they want to get involved, they don't know how to start, would there be a particular book, or have you written a book? Is there a particular book that you would say, you know what, I think if you start here, you could maybe learn some of the terms or some of the options. Is there a particular book that helped you?
So I can't say that there was a beginner's book that helped me. I got very like lucky that this kind of stuff was taught to me throughout my life.
Mhm.
Excuse me.
That's good.
But I will say there's a book, a gentleman called Ramit, so Ramit, and I can't remember his last name for the life of me right now. But the book is called I Will Teach You to Be Rich. And
Mm.
I have read it, and it is fantastic. He does a wonderful job of kind of staying in the middle,
Mhm.
and actually just teaching the facts, right? Like you do this if you want to do this, and then he'll maybe give you one or two options, but
Okay.
I don't feel like he's as biased as maybe a Dave Ramsey, or as extreme as a Dave Ramsey. I don't like that. I don't like when people are so extreme, because yes, can that be impactful to some individuals, but it can also be very detrimental mentally to others that can't be that extreme about something. So I want people to just have the foundational knowledge, and
Yeah.
then maybe have one or two options and say, oh, I could definitely do this, but I don't really feel like this is gonna, like option A will be great, but option B, that's not gonna work for me. But I'm still gonna come to the same outcome. And
No,
that's what I like.
no, that's really awesome. What are some of the foundational principles that you would require a new client that came to you that says, look, I know this is what I want to do. I'm 30 years old, never invested, but I'm interested in learning and I don't know really where to start. What's just one foundational things that you would say for them to start first?
um, Educating yourself in a manner or a method that you learn best. Because I can tell you to go read 10 books
Yeah.
and you'd be like, I got nothing out of that. Or I could tell a 20 something year old right now to go get on Instagram and follow 5 people that talk about money.
Yeah.
And they could be, I mean, they would pick it up so quickly, right?
Yeah.
Like if that's the method of learning that they learn from. So really, when I start working with people, it's a very personal journey that we go on. How do you learn best? What support do you need from me? How much accountability do you need from me? And so I try to take that and tailorize it and make it the most individualized
Mhm.
coaching that it can be, because
That's good.
to your point, there's not one thing that fits everybody. So I really make them break it down. Like, how do you learn best? What do you want from me? What's your expectation? What do you want to get out at the end of it? Because I know what I want out of the end of it for you.
No, that's a good answer because I know for me, anything that I start with, if it's something new that I'm teaching myself or learning, I need to know the definitions. I need to know what does that even mean. Like when my daughter was telling me about an IRA, I was like looking it up because I don't know what you're talking about. She started talking about high yield. Let me look it. I have to know, first of all, what are you talking about? Once I
Mhm.
figure out what you're talking about, then everything else I can follow until the next question comes about because I'm going to ask a million questions. Trust me,
Yeah.
so that my brain can wrap around. And it may be 2 days later and I go, I know what she was talking about. I get
Yeah.
exactly what she said because something will show up or something will happen and I'll go, I know what she's talking about now. And so that's you're right, customizing the learning process for each person. I'm sure it's so appreciated because we are all different. We learn different. Some are visual, some are tactile. I mean, it just depends on how you catch on, with it. So that's
Yeah.
really awesome.
The other thing that I think is super important when we're teaching and learning is
Yeah,
not to assume, right? Like we don't, I can't assume that you know what an IRA is. And
exactly.
so I built this digital course, and when I was building it, right, for me, it was like my mind had to go backwards, but that's only because this is what I do and it's my expertise.
Thank you for
So
recognizing that, because a lot of people that have an expertise, you got to dial it back
you
so
do.
that people can understand. Like when I meet people that work in corporate right now, because I worked in corporate years ago, and they'll say words like, yeah, I was onboarding and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean. Can
Yeah.
you tell me what that means? Because I don't speak corporate anymore. So I don't know what you're talking about. I'm 26
Yeah.
years out of that. So I don't know what you're talking about. So with your digital course, you kind of had to step back and go, wait a minute, got to pretend like they know nothing. And because I know everything that I'm talking about, I got to know that that person may not, right?
For example, like credit score, right? Like I educate on credit score. Well, somebody might not even know what a credit score is. So I went back and said, hey, it's a number between 350 and 800 or so
Yeah.
that basically is like a report card for adults.
Yeah, that's right.
And what it does is it allows creditors to say, hey, we're going to give you X amount of money.
But we can't trust you with
And,
the dollar.
yeah. And so, but I had to go back, right? If you said credit score to me, like I know 20 things about it like that. Like, how do I affect it? How do I change it? How do I improve it? How does it get, decreased? All of those things, like what impact it?
Right.
But I can't assume that you know what a credit score is. And so really when I created that digital course, I wanted it to like literally be the most basic level of like, this is credit, this is debit. What are the 5 most common types of investment accounts?
That's right.
What are they? How do they function? How do we put money in? How do we take money out? What are the tax implications?
Right.
Because if you don't know that, then I can't say to you, oh, now let's go put 7 grand a year into a Roth IRA. You'd be like, I don't even know what a Roth IRA is, and I don't even know how that's going to affect me. So no, I don't want to do that, or no, I don't want to take action.
Right, right, right. Now, for the most basic startup, would you tell them to go to a particular site to start their investing, or would you sit down and do a profile on them and then say, you're looking for, low impact, you're looking for, you know, low liability, you're looking for to be here in 10 years? Would there be a starting point, or is it really more customized than even what I'm thinking?
No, that's a great question. So I do think that most people are like, I don't even know like what I want to do or where I want to be, right? They don't really think about that. And so when I work with individuals, it's a lot of information gathering up front.
Yep.
And then I'm able to say to them like, hey, you could totally do this on your own. Like you could go to fidelity.com and open up this account and I'll walk you through that.
Mm-hmm.
Or, hey, you have more of a complex situation and more complex goals. So we probably need to sit down with a financial advisor or a financial planner
Mm-hmm.
and work it out that way. So
That's right.
again, not everybody needs an advisor or a planner. There's lots of do-it-yourself things that are perfectly like they serve the purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are a lot of individuals that do have more complex situations that truly need more complex strategy. And that's when you get other experts in. I mean, not even just an advisor or a planner, you get a CPA, you get an estate planner, you get a business strategist. I mean, so it really, again, I mean, you can be here or you can be here or in between. Here or here is fine. We just got to figure out, are you here or are you here?
Wow, that's awesome. Well, tell us where you're going with your business and where you see your business in the next couple of years. And then also remind our viewers and our listeners where they can find you online on social. And if you have any type of programs out there that they can be a part of, remember, we're going to put all of that in the description bar. But where's the business going from here?
Yeah, I just want to expand. I truly just want people to have access to it.
Yeah.
Hence why I did the digital course, which is like I said again, the basics of finances, right? Like the very, very basic starting point.
Hmm.
And then I would love to expand like coaching, which is more one-on-one, individualized, tailored strategies.
Right.
But I really just want to expand and get it out there to people. I want people to have access. And so I'm trying to create spaces where you can start here and then kind of move along the spectrum to like the more advanced and complex. But yeah, we're going to keep putting stuff out there, getting, people access and just keep growing and watching people become more empowered and be more impactful and have more choice in their life, feeling good about it at the same time.
Right. I love that. With our show, Mother Daughter Ish here, that's the one thing that we look at is we look at mothers and we look at daughters, and then we look at a lot of those mother daughter businesses that are out there and just really wanting to empower women. So I feel like your financial literacy conversation today has really been empowering for the people that watch our show, because you go through life and sometimes that piece is not even taught to you. Like I just heard you say a few minutes ago that you knew this because you've been taught this all your life. I'm 52 years old this year, okay?
Yeah.
Nobody ever taught me this until I started my business 26 years ago, when I started hearing little sprinklings of it. And it wasn't even a, come on, we need to do this type of thing. It was more of a, huh, well, if you want to, you can. And if you don't, whatever. I do it, but I really can't teach other people how to do it because they naturally just were taught it. So teaching somebody else was like, well, I just kind of know it. I don't know how to teach it. So I'm so thankful that you have the patience, one, to be able to teach it to other. Two, you have the wherewithal because you say you've got your certifications and all of that. But then also it seems that you have a passion for doing it, because again, I would be one of those people that you have to start way, 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 way back just to even explain to me exactly what you're talking about before I'm even going to be interested in moving forward with looking into it deeper. Because if I don't understand it, and you know how it is when there's something new and we don't really understand it, our brain goes, well, I'll get to it when I get to it, instead of saying, let me learn more. So
Yeah.
keeping, people in that mode of let me learn more, it seems like it's what you're doing with your financial literacy business. And I definitely wish you all the best with all the growth onward and upward with it. Any parting words you'd like to leave with our listeners and viewers?
I would say, like, since this is a mother-daughter show, like, moms, if you want to give your daughter a gift,
Yes.
start teaching them. And if you don't know how to teach them, find somebody that can help. And it's okay if you don't know, and there's no shame, there's no guilt, there's no anxiety. Like, money does not have to be a subject that brings those emotions up. Money needs to be, for women specifically, something that is powerful, it's confident, and it's life changing. So give your daughters and yourselves, like, give yourselves that gift, and like put the time and the effort into you, because we are so busy, like, giving our time and ourselves to everybody else, and sometimes we forget about ourselves. So do you
Yeah.
educate yourself, empower yourself, and give that gift to your daughter as well, because then she's going to give it on. Whether she even, you don't have to physically sit there and say, like, I'm doing XYZ.
Right.
I'm learned because I just watched my mom do it,
Show and
right?
tell.
Like,
Uh-huh.
yeah. And so, like, your kids are going to just watch you do it, and that's going to, like, generational, like, legacy is going to be built. And I know we all want that. So educate yourselves, love on yourselves, and yeah, be confident and empowered with money instead of the other negative emotions
Empowered.
associated with it.
Can they find you online?
Yeah, so my website is called eraofwomenandwealth.com. I spend a lot of time, the majority of my time, on Instagram. I'm always putting kind of little tidbits and teaching bits on there. And that is the word women underscore the word and
Mhm.
underscore wealth underscore. So women and wealth on Instagram.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Meaghan, for being my guest today. And you have absolutely empowered our listeners and viewers. And I am so thankful that you took time out to be my guest today and for this series for women in success and mothers and daughters. Here we are again with another great show. And I'm telling you, we have more and more for you, but make sure that you look down in the description bar and that you can connect with Meaghan. And if you have questions, she's got coaching programs, she's got all types of services, she's got the knowledge. So you know that when you reach out to her, she'll be able to help you. And, hire her to help you to get your things together for yourself, for your family, like she said, for your legacy. So thank you for looking at our show today. And until next time, we will bring you more shows, and bye for now. Hey, ladies, this is your official invitation to join us on the Winner's Circle Cruise in January. We're going to meet in Fort Lauderdale and go through Key West. And then from Key West, we are going to go over to Bimini, Bahamas. If you have not been to the Bahamas in the last year or so, you've got to go. It is so wonderful, so lovely, so awesome. So far, we've got a good group of ladies that are already signed up. The max to go is 24, unless something wild happens, but 24 is the max. if you received the flyer from me, you know that you need to go ahead and get your deposit down. So we'll spend the first day in Fort Lauderdale getting on the cruise. It'll spend a day on the water. We'll get over to Key West, spend a day there. That'll be day 3. And then for day 4, we will be in Bimini, Bahamas, and we will spend an entire day there where we will just foo-la-la, foo-la-la, foo-la-la. And the final day, we will be back in Fort Lauderdale. I do suggest that you get to Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the night before the cruise. I have seen people be left, so don't be one of them. Now, if you want to leave the day we get back, the cruise is going to be back. By the time you get off, it'll be 10. So if you want to book you a flight, book it after 10 or noon. You just saw the beautiful rooms that we are going to be booking. Yes, every room will have a balcony unless you declare otherwise. Now look at that water. Can you tell me you don't want to be there? Look at all of those good markets. You telling me you don't want to be with the Winner's Circle? The Winner's Circle is for women owners of businesses that want to get together with other women from all over different places to be able to mastermind, to talk about our businesses, to grow, to support one another, to hear others' perspectives on how you can do things different in your business to be the best business and to grow your business. Anything that you can't talk about with other people, this is a great time. Join us on the Winner's Circle Cruise.